Hello, good morning. Today the subject is economics and topic is supply. So far we studied what is supply, what is individual supply, what is market supply. Then we saw what is total output, what is stock, what is the difference between stock and supply. And then we saw law of supply, explanation of law, explanation of schedule of supply schedule, and then how to draw supply curve and what is the trend, means it is moving towards upward towards left, from left to right. Stating that more is supplied at a higher price, less is supplied at lower price. That was the law and explanation of supply curve. And then we saw assumptions of law of supply. So today we will be discussing about exception to the law of supply, then extension or contraction, and increase and decrease, increase or decrease in supply, similar to we studied in law of demand topic also. But here the factors are different: increase, decrease, extension, contraction. In case of increase and decrease, the factors are different than demand. So are there any exception to the law of supply? Yes, there are exceptions to the law of supply. It means what? It means law of supply is not operating or will not operating in following circumstances. It means supply curve, instead of moving upward, initially it will move upward and then it will be bent down and will be reverse position of supply, showing that even though there is a rise in price, supply is not increasing. Supply is not, there is no expansion in supply. So this is what we will see. Now, which are the points where law of supply is not operating? So, first point. Now, first point, in case of labor, law of supply is not operating. Now, what is labor? Labor supply. Now, labor supply is to be understood in two ways. Labor supply means workers working physically. I want 100 workers. So this is labor supply. But in case of economics, while understanding the exception, actually labor is supplying his work in terms of hours. So labor hours are to be studied in relation to price. So if I work for 8 hours, if I work for a month, I will get salary or wages. So this is called supply of labor or labor supply in terms of economics. So this number of hours worked is called supply or labor supply, supply of labor or labor supply. So in case of wages or in terms of work, in terms of hours, what happens? In the initial stages of work, when the wages are less, worker will try to work or supply hours more as the wages goes up. So, in the initial stage, if price in terms of wages rises, workers will work more in terms of hours. But after rise in wages, one point comes which can be called as saturation time, or it is a time beyond which worker will tend to work less and will supply less hours even though there is a rise in wages. Now what is this? For example, if the present wage rate per hour is rupees 20, and if a worker is working for 8 hours, he will get 160 rupees per day. Means after supply of 8 hours at a price of 20, he will earn rupees 160. So as the wages go up from 20 to 22, 25, naturally he will try to work for more number of hours and law of supply will operate, no doubt. But if the wage rate rises to rupees 40 per hours, then there are two things. One thing, he will calculate that how much he needs. So he needs 160 rupees, for example, taking as a base. Then he will say, I will not work for 8 hours now. I will work for less hours and I am satisfied because I am getting sufficient amount. After even I work for 6 hours, I will get 240. Plus, from practical point of view, as the wages or salary goes up, a person will have to pay income tax. So he will calculate, if suppose I work for more hours and if I have to pay income tax, then in my hands I am not getting much income. So, in that case, in this case, law of supply will not operate. In other words, as the wages go up to a certain limit, supply of labor in terms of hours will be more, but after a certain time, if wages are double or even more than that, then he will supply less hours, he will enjoy his family life and he will supply less hours. So in this case, law of supply will not operate. First point is over. In other words, in case of supply of labor or labor supply in terms of hours supplied by workers will not operate. Law of supply will not. So there is exceptions to this. Now coming to second point, and that is rise and fall in interest rate. Now individual person or even in case of corporate world, in businessman will also try to calculate his interest income from savings. In case of the savings of some people, but this is happening in the case of old people. This exception is particularly is to be studied from the point of view of people who expects fixed income every month. Now let us try to understand this. The savings of some people may fall with a rise in rate of interest. So savings and interest are the two factors which will prove us that there is exception. Again I will repeat. The savings of some people may fall with a rise in the rate of interest and rise with fall in the rate of interest. See, interest rate plays role in exceptions to the law of supply. The exception is seen in those persons who are interested in fixed income in the form of interest. For instance, if a person is interested in a fixed income of rupees 300, he will save rupees 3000 when the rate of interest is 10. So, on saving of 3000 at the rate of 10%, he will earn rupees 300 per month. Or you can increase this amount and calculate accordingly. So, his target is to get fixed income of rupees 300. So, at present rate of 10%, he will invest rupees 3000. If now the rate falls to 6%, then what will happen? He will have to invest more money, that is rupees 5000. So 6%, 5000 into 6 upon 100 comes to 300. So see what has happened. Rate has fallen from 10% to 6%. For this, he has to invest more. This is where law of supply is not applicable. So in order to earn 300 fixed income, he has to invest more, even though the rate is falling. Similarly, if the rate goes up from 10% to 12% or 15%, then in order to get 300 rupees, he will invest less amount. Hence, there also law of supply is not applicable. Hence, higher interest rate reduces saving and fall in interest rate increases the saving amount for fixed income group earners. So, in case of rise and fall in interest rate, law of supply is not operated, cannot be operated. Coming to next point, need for cash. Sometimes supplier or producer is in need of money due to difficulties faced by him in his house. He might require money for his personal expenses, medical expenses, or for education of his child. So, when a producer or supplier is in need of cash immediately, in that case, law will not operate, because he will try to sell more and more goods even though price falls, because he needs money immediately. So in this case also, law will not operate. Law will not operate because a producer or seller is in need of cash. So he will supply more at a lower price and he will try to get more and more money. Next point is, in case of agriculture goods also, the law of supply will not operate, because these are the goods or commodities produced once. In between July to or June to September, crop is grown and then after that cutting is done. So supply is fixed. So depending upon the climatic conditions, when the production is fixed, supply is fixed, supply cannot be increased even at higher price. So, in case of agriculture goods, law of supply is not operated. Next point is rare articles. Antique pieces, paintings, artistic articles are exception to the law of supply, because the change in price will not result into change in supply of these goods. It cannot be produced in a day or hour. Supply is restricted and specialized goods are produced. So here also law of supply will not be operated. Now one more point is expectation about rise or fall or decline in prices. So when there is a slight rise in prices, price of commodity, seller should supply more goods. Suppose the price is 10, he is supplying 100 goods, quantity of goods. If the price rises to 12, then he should supply more as per the law of supply. But he expects further rise. So he thinks that price may go to 15. In that case, supply will not be more. Supply will not rise because he is expecting more rise in price. Similarly, in the case of fall in price, he is afraid that there will be further fall in price and hence he will try to sell more and more goods to consumers even though there is fall in price. So these are the exceptions I told you. Now let us try to see how the supply curve behaves, how the supply curve is to be drawn. So that I will be showing from textbook. Again I am telling, I am not drawing any diagram in my notes because I make students to draw diagram in my notes. I keep space and let them draw at least once and they can practice again and again. So now come to the diagrammatic presentation of law of supply, which is exception to the law of supply. See, this is why what I do every time. Every time I explain the points and then I am showing the graphical presentation of the law of supply, law of demand, then now exception to law of supply. Now this is supply of labor. Now I am showing exception. OX axis shows hours of work. OY axis shows wage rate. Now, initially, when wages were OW, the quantity of hours supplied were OM. So, OA wages. Now, as wages go up, wages are going up, then supply will also go up. But when wages are from W to W1, then supply in terms of hour is M1. Now this is the saturation point. Now after that, if wages go up from W1 to slowly wages are rising, but as I told you, workers will tend to supply less hours of work. So as the wages goes up from W1 to W2, then supply moves, reduces from M1 to M2. This is called exception to the law of supply, and this is the supply curve in case of exception. So this happens in all cases which I told you for exception to the law of supply. Now, so this is over. Now coming to next point, and that is extension or contraction. Extension and contraction of supply and increase and decrease in supply. See, this point we saw in case of demand also. So in case of supply also, there is variation and change. Again, I will be explaining all points, and then I will be showing you presentation of diagram in case of extension and contraction and increase and decrease of supply. Now, extension and point number 1. Extension and contraction of supply is also called variation. Again, I am repeating, extension and contraction, increase and decrease, the dictionary meaning is same, going up, going down. But in economics, the meaning for extension or contraction, that is variation and change, is different. Concepts are to be understood from economics, subject economics. So, extension and contraction is also called variation. Point number 1. No, point number 2, when price rises and a supply goes up, it is called expansion. And as the price falls, and if there is fall in the supply, it is called contraction. So, extension and contraction is due to change in price of a commodity. So higher is supplied as the price rises, it is called extension. Less is supplied when price fall, it is called contraction. Point number 3 now. Third point is extension and contraction can be shown on same supply curve. You need not draw separate supply curve, and on the same supply curve you can show extension of supply or contraction of supply. I will show you from the textbook, but let us come to increase or decrease in supply. So first point, increase or decrease in supply is called change in supply. So change in supply refers to increase and decrease in supply due to changes in the supply, not because of price but because of other factors of supply. In other words, price remaining constant, if there is change in the supply, it is called increase or decrease in supply. So increase in supply can be due to increase in population, increase in technique of production, increase in or change in the method of production available. In the case of transport, banking or power, so increase in supply due to these factors is called change in supply. Now decrease in supply due to reduction in the population following the labor intensive method of production, or transport facility is not proper. So in that case, that is called decrease in supply. Now in case of increase or decrease in supply, you will have to draw separate supply curve, because increase in decrease supply is because of other factors, price remaining constant. So price is 10, supply is 100, supply is going to 200 because of increase in production and increase in supply. Increase in population, supply is going up. So price is same 10, but supply is 200. So that is because of other factors other than price. Now let us try to understand from the graphical representation how to show expansion and contraction, increase and decrease. Now let us see increase in supply. Come on, I am explaining in different. So now OX axis shows quantity supplied, Y axis shows price. When price was 100, sorry, when price was 10, quantity supplied is 100, and the supply curve is SS. Now at the same price, quantity supplied is 200. So here you will have to draw S1, SS1 as supply curve. As I told you, you will have to draw new supply curve because price remaining constant. If there is increase in supply, quantity offered for sale is more, then it can be shown only by drawing new supply curve. So in this case, supply curve moves rightward, it shifts from here to here, that is rightward shift of supply curve. Increase, then coming to the decrease in supply. Now decrease in supply, again when the price was 10, quantity offered for sale was 100. Price remaining constant, supply reduces from 100 to 50, that is decrease in supply. So again you have to draw separate supply curve S1, SS1. Old supply curve, original was SS, this is the supply curve. Now coming to extension of supply. So here extension of supply is because of rise in price. Supply is more. When price was 10, quantity offered for sale was 100. Now price goes to 20, supply is 200. So this is shown on the same supply curve. It is going from M to N. Quantity rises from 100 to 200. So in case of extension of supply, you will have to show, you can show extension on the same supply curve. Now coming to contraction of supply. Now contraction of supply, again price was 20, quantity offered for sale was 200, supply was 200, price was to 10, supply is 100. This is called contraction of supply. Contraction of supply means due to fall in price, if supply is reducing, less quantity is offered for sale, it is called contraction of supply. So this is how you have to explain in your extension and contraction when question comes. Now, as I told you last time that in your new syllabus, elasticity of supply is removed. Now, that is because new chapters are introduced, and that is why the board has removed the elasticity of supply from the syllabus, because 3 more topics they have introduced in the new syllabus. Now we will go to next point, and that is the last point in this chapter, in this topic, and that is concepts of cost and revenue. Now cost concept. Now first concept is total cost. Now cost concept means expenditure incurred by producer for producing the goods. Various inputs like raw material, then there are factors, land, building, capital, etc. So now first concept is total cost. Now total cost is total expenditure incurred by firm for acquiring factors of production and for converting raw material into finished goods. Now total cost consists of 2 things. One is total fixed cost and total variable cost. So total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Now total fixed cost means what? Total fixed costs are those expenses of production which are incurred on fixed factors of production like land and building, plant and machinery, etc. Now the investment in this is more. Second is total variable cost. Total variable cost are those expenses of production which are incurred on variable factors like labor, raw material, power and fuel. It is directly associated with the production. The benefit of such expenses is for short period. The amount of variable cost goes on increasing or decreasing depending upon the total production. For example, for 100 units of ball pens, you require raw material of 10,000. If the production goes to 200 or 500, then raw material cost will go up. That is called variable factor. Even power, electricity bill will go up. So, total variable cost is that cost which is directly associated with the production. Now, next concept is average cost. So, average cost means it is defined as in terms of formula, that is average cost refers to cost of production per unit. Means suppose you have produced 10,000 units and total cost is rupees 20,000. So average cost is rupees 2. So average cost is equal to, in terms of formula, total cost divided by total quantity produced. So we have seen 3 points: total fixed cost or fixed cost, variable cost, total fixed cost, total variable cost, and average cost. Now coming to next point, that is marginal cost. Marginal cost is the net addition. It is the net addition made to total cost. Again I am repeating, it is a net addition made to total cost by producing one more unit of output. Means what? Now for example, if your production for 4 units is 200, and when you produce 5th unit and the total cost is 250, so 50 rupees will be marginal cost, rupees 250 minus 200. That is called marginal cost, is the net addition made to total cost by producing one more unit. So when you have produced 4 units, total cost was 400, 200. When you are producing an additional unit, total cost goes up to 250. So the difference between 250 and 200 is 50 rupees. Like you say that अरे मैं मार्जिन में पास हो गया, मेरे को 40 मार्क्स आया. So 35 is your minimum you should get. Now you got 40. So 5 is your margin. So that is called marginal cost. Now coming to last point, and that is revenue concepts. The term revenue means income or receipts obtained by a firm from the sale of certain commodity or quantity of goods at a given price. So in your revenue, it is related with the price fixed by the seller and quantity sold by him during a particular period of time. This period can be 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Now, first concept is total revenue. So, total revenue is the total sales proceeds of a firm by selling commodity at a given price. Suppose he sells 100 units at rupees 10 per unit. So, total revenue is 1000. So, total revenue is equal to price into number of goods sold by him. Now, next point is average revenue. So, again average revenue is equal to total revenue divided by total quantity sold by him. So, reverse of his suppose total revenue is 3000, total goods sold by him is 100. So, average revenue is 30. So, total revenue divided by total quantity sold is called average revenue. Now, last point is again marginal revenue. Again, when he sells additional revenue, whereas goods sold by him will be marginal. So, marginal revenue is the net addition made to total revenue by selling an extra unit of commodity. So, again same example, if a producer, a seller sells 10 units and he earns 1000 rupees by selling 10 units, and if he sells 11th unit and if he gets 1010 rupees, then margin is 10. So, these are the various concepts you should try to understand while learning the portion from economics. See, as I told you last time that I am taking individual tuition and group tuitions at Borivali. I don't take more than 5 to 7 students. So, in case if you are interested, and I am taking lecture online also. So, those who are interested, they can contact me on my phone 98192 64032. I teach from 11 to MCom, CBSE, ICSE, BAF, BMS. Thank you.